Good morning, everybody. Hope everyone's having a great day. Today I got two little things to accomplish. I'm going to do a first start and kind of initial impression on the Predator 212cc Auger that you buy at Harbor Freight. If you hate on Harbor Freight, you're in good company. But if you love Harbor Freight, you're in better company here. I'm also going to talk a little bit about being a good neighbor and how you should let people borrow stuff sometimes. So I try real hard to look for opportunities I can to be generous to people, particularly people that I care about. I think generosity is a really important part of life, and so I'm really happy that I've got this auger over here that I can lend to my buddy. But I feel like as the lender, um, I have a few responsibilities. I need to set him up for success. I would never want to turn over just a piece of equipment that's never been started and is unproven for my buddy to go fart around with and spend his time doing anything with. I want to turn it over ready to go. Fuel in it. I'll give him some fuel with it. And, understanding that the thing works when it gets there. The flip side of borrowing something from someone, which we all do at a certain point, I think, is, return it better than you found it. It's a pretty simple concept. Just, if do something for the person that lent it to you beyond just using the thing and bringing it back. It doesn't have to be much. Like, you know, fill the gas tank up on something, or wash it off if it's a little dirty. But just make the person that lends you something want to lend you something again, and just be a good neighbor. It's not that complicated. So let's get this thing fueled up and put together and see what we think. You must add fuel stabilizer and 2.5 fluid ounces 2-cycle oil to every gallon of gas. That works out to 50 to 1, which is what I put in there. It does have Stavil in it. And guess what? It's not ethanol. Haha. Cold start. Press priming bulb above 3 or 4 times. Here's the priming bulb. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Now we're primed up. That's a little bit more than 4. I'm going to yank on this thing a few times. Well, that sure did fire right up. Great sign. I feel like for what I paid for this, which I think I bought it on one of the sales, and I want to say I paid like right at $200 for it. It's still quite dark outside, but once it gets a little light, I'm gonna go drill a hole or two and get some initial use out of it. But I'm pretty impressed for what I paid for it. It starts right up. It seems reasonably well made, particularly for the price. I will say these auger bits are a little bit more expensive than you think they should be, but you know, I'm sure that's probably where they make their margin. Everyone's got to eat, right? But yeah, I'm really happy with it. I'm glad. I'm glad my buddy Pat's going to be able to put it to some good use. I'm going to mix up a little bit of 2-stroke fuel to send with this bad boy, and oh, and I got to grab my tamper because he wanted to borrow that too. So let's mix some gas. So I mixed one of those little mixing bottles of fuel up, which is what I was kind of planning on sending with the the auger, and I looked at that. I was like, that doesn't look very big. So let's mix another one up and just give them the whole can. You know, it is also probably worth mentioning uh, in terms of borrowing things to your friends or borrowing things from your friends, particularly when you're lending something out. You know, I'm not going to lend anything to just anybody, right? It's not that you just know me means you get to come borrow something. But if I trust somebody and I believe that if they break something, they'll make it right or at least tell me that it's broken, that's a terrible thing. When you lend somebody something and they bring it back and you find out that something's wrong with it and they didn't tell you, that will really grind your gears a little bit. But if you trust a person, a lot of people have some things, about lending, tools or money, or never lend something you don't fully intend to never get back. I don't necessarily agree to that. I would maybe add a caveat: never lend something you don't anticipate getting back to somebody that's maybe not trustworthy. But I trust my friends, or at least most of them, and I'm happy to lend this out. And if it comes back super screwed up, well, that's just a risk you got to run. But I think the likelihood of that is pretty slim. All right, let's start this thing up. I am very impressed with how clean the sides of that hole are. Well, that's one hole down. Finally used it, ready to be borrowed. I am impressed with it. I think it doesn't have as much power as I kind of potentially could have hoped. I feel like I can kind of overpower that machine a little bit. But I guess, having some touch and some feel every once in a while probably isn't the worst thing in the world. I'm going to fill this hole back in, load this up, get ready and go into the office and drop it off on the way in. So Predator 212cc Harbor Freight auger is a worthwhile buy. That's a nice looking hole. It was, it dug the hole way easier than anything else I've ever used to dig a hole. So, hey, check out these chickens. Y'all have a good rest of your day. Like, comment, subscribe if you could. It really does help. And stay tuned for more.